North Pole.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Where's the snow?
Why are you smiling like that?
I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
Well, you coming?
Up and away!
Catherine, this turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
Hey guys, Merry Christmas and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a review video. If you enjoyed my last review of the Lego Home Alone set, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video too, it means the world to me. I love doing review videos. Comment below in what I should do next for a video and I'll try to make that happen. So, Christmas movies around the holidays are one of my favorite things about Christmas time. Every night in December, with friends and family, I like to sit down by a fire, make some popcorn, eat whatever candy or cookies I have, and enjoy a classic Christmas movie or a new one or whatever. I'm just really into the freeform, AMC, all that fun stuff. So I'm sure you guys are too. And as you may wonder and figure that today, this video is going to cover, we are going to rank the top 10 best Christmas movies from the last 50 years, from present till back when Rudolph and Frosty were like the top thing. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe again. Let's dive into it. Number 10, Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So this definitely made it onto the list as number 10 because it's an all-time classic. It was first released in 1966 and has been around ever since. The movie really talks about the true meaning of Christmas. That's why I think it's so special. Not so much the religious aspect, but really what we all want on Christmas. I mean, just being around people that we love and spending time together is really, in the long run, much more important than just gifts or, turkeys, food, anything like that. So as long as we have that's kind of the theme of the movie, which is why I think it's really good. It's also really short, so if you don't have much time on your hands and just want to sit down and watch something, this is definitely a really good one to watch. I'm not sure if everyone's opinion agrees with this, but Santa Claus is Coming to Town is my all-time favorite, in my opinion. It is just, I've watched it my entire life. I love every moment of it, all the characters, the plot. It is just... It just is has a special place in my heart. This is definitely my personal favorite just because all the aspects, like I said, I just love. I mean, if you watch this, it's about 45-50 minutes in running time, and it has really famous people like Mickey Rooney, and it's just I love it. And like, again, I've watched it for years and years and years, and I've never seen a movie that strikes me more in every single way possible. So this came out in 1970, so it's pretty old, not as old as some, but I really encourage you guys to watch it because it's just amazing, and it has music, it has, it's kind of like a musical, but just if you have some 45-50 minutes on your hands and want to watch a kind of underrated Christmas movie in most people's eyes, but in my eyes it's the best one, this is definitely it. 8. Frosty the Snowman. This is another classic. 1968, I think. I'm not sure exactly the year, but it is an old one. It's been around forever. Everyone knows it. It's great. I mean, it has a lovable Frosty the Snowman. It has little girl Karen who loves Frosty more than everything and wants to help him get to the North Pole. It has an evil magician. It's just everything a child would want, and really anything a parent would want to watch with their kid. It has. So this you can't miss, and I think it really deserves to be number 8 because, again, it's short, 25 minutes, I think. Rankin Bass, it's by. I really, really enjoy watching this every year. No matter how old you are, I don't think this is ever too young. Anyone can find joy in this because it's just such a classic. And I just can't stress enough that this movie really, it's not so much a cartoon, it's more of a story, a fictional story that really plays into what everyone wants to see at Christmas time. It has snow, it has kids coming together, it has traveling to the North Pole. I mean, it's awesome. I love it. Number 7, The Year Without a Santa Claus. This classic 1974 film features the Miser brothers, Heat Miser and Snow Miser, who both own territory in part of the world. And Santa Claus, of course, how old he is. One year he's sick and decides not to deliver presents. Not that surprising. I'm sure many parents can relate to Santa because they're just not up for giving presents to their kids one year because they're just too tired or sick. I mean, that's what this whole thing's about. So the plot of this is really neat because the elves and Mrs. Claus come together and try to find goodwill and Christmas spirit from the world, all around the world. And then eventually, kids show their appreciation for Santa. He decides to deliver presents, and it's all good. This is pretty underrated, I think, in my opinion. It's not on that often. It was ABC Family. Now it's Freeform, AMC, actually. People, I think, mistake the two. I think people get, I don't want to say confused, but I think they really miss the point that this movie is supposed to stress and emphasize how important it is to believe in your parents, your friends, and just everything that you believe in everyday life. But it's so much more than just a Christmas movie. It really you can apply the lessons of this movie to anything in life. And I think the choreography, the claymation, I think another Rankin Bass was made by this, and really just this whole thing screams Christmas and happy vibes, which is why it deserves number 7. Number 6, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Wow, I cannot believe I'm ranking this number 6. To me, this film definitely deserves a higher ranking than number 6. But I feel like people, and again, this is based off a kind of combination mixture of my opinion and what everyone thinks, but this movie, I can't imagine Christmas without this movie. I mean, in the early 2000s, this was all I ever watched. It was always on. My family and I would watch it every single night of December. It's a total classic. When you think of Christmas movies, you cannot leave out Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's just so great. It has a great Santa, a lot of scary aspects of like the abominable snowman, and I think the head elf that's kind of mean to Hermie. I think he was creepy too. I thought he was when I was littler. But you can't have Christmas without this. You got to watch this movie at least once. Okay, it's going to be on TV somewhere or another. It's a 1966, I think. Or actually, no, it's 1964 So this movie's been around for almost 60 years. It's just so good. And if you don't like it or you think it's not great, there's something wrong, because everyone has got to find some joy in this. There are some kind of not so great parts, but in the end and the overall lesson, you can't not have this in your list of movies. You just can't. And our top 5. Number 5, Christmas Vacation. Now, I think I gave Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a little too much credit. There are some parts that really people can find disturbing, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Hermie and Rudolph both get bullied in the first 5 minutes of the film. And there are some not so good themes and lessons that impact kids who watch it. But you just can't get around the fact that it's a classic Christmas movie with everything that Christmas has. But it does not deserve to be in my top 5. So, looking at number 5, Christmas Vacation. The thing I feel that is just extraordinary about this film, which is 1989, by the way, this was made in. This is a realistic film. I can see so many parts of this film happening in real life. People argue trees go through, I don't know if trees go through windows, but people pull them out of the ground, lights don't work, turkeys get overcooked. All of this stuff is realistic. So I find it astonishing that it's not over-exaggerated, but it hits exactly what people think it's supposed to hit. So for that reason, it deserves number 5. Just because it's pretty long, that's true. But Chevy Chase, and it has, I think Russ is Leonard in it, actually. And I just can't get over the fact that everything in this movie is so realistic. And if you haven't seen this movie, you definitely should go see it. Everyone's seen it. But it'll make you laugh. Trust me, you'll like it. Moving on. Number 4, The Santa Claus. This movie really deserves to be number 4 on my list because it is by far the best Santa Claus out of the 3. The Escape Claus and Santa Claus 2. I think that's what it's called. So again, if you've only seen parts of the Santa Claus series, definitely watch this one the whole way through, because it really goes, it's not so basic and simple like some of the old Rankin Bass, Frosty, Rudolph, Santa Claus is Coming to Town movies. It's more of, there's coffee makers, I think, in the sleigh of Santa. It explains how the different ways that Santa gets down the chimney. The workshop is outstanding. I think it's the best Santa's Workshop movie that it has. I mean, I think all the different elves are really cool. And it goes from a divorced man named Scott Calvin to becoming Santa Claus. If I was his wife, I'd kick myself in the head. So anyway, Scott Calvin becomes Santa Claus, and his son Charlie believes that. And no one else believes that he's actually Santa except for Charlie. Charlie is the son there. And in the end, everything works out, and Charlie wants to eventually join the family business when he gets older. This is on all the time and has been for years on TV. So if people haven't had an exposure to this movie, there's no way that can be true. And there's no excuse for not seeing this movie because it is on all the time. Number 3, John Hughes' 1990 Home Alone film. This film, Home Alone, I know there's 2. A lot of people like the second one better, but I think the first is definitely the best. Just because it introduces the 2 burglars, Harry and Marv. A kid is left at home when his family goes overseas, and then it just takes off from there. When he learns to overcome his fears of Old Man Marley and the basement downstairs, and he takes care of the house, and he ends up defending his house from the burglars before his family comes back to reunite with him. The best thing I get out of this movie is independence. I'm an only child, and I feel like personally I connect better with adults than kids my age. And even when I was growing up, just any kid my age, I felt like I'm better at talking to adults or older people just because of my independence, and this is the best way I can relate to Macaulay Culkin. So the film Home Alone really speaks for itself. It has an older brother. The film contains siblings, it contains parents, it contains all kinds of figures, like the lady in the shop where he gets the toothbrush from, the policeman chasing him across the ice, really everyone, and the airport. It's just really good in terms of covering what holiday travel is like and what vacation's like during the holidays and how people mess up. This film is really unrealistic. I don't think anyone would leave their kid on vacation. But the film does display how a mother and her son show and have so much love, even when they don't feel like they're always that close, as we saw in the beginning in the film. I think everyone's seen the film Home Alone. It's really good. John Hughes, I love him. He shoots so many and makes so many good films, like this one, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles. I think he's a really good filmmaker in general, but Home Alone definitely deserves number 3. All right, final 2. Polar Express takes the second spot, number 2. Tom Hanks made this movie. The conductor, he has such a big role in playing what the spirit of Christmas is like. He also plays the ghost who meets the boy on top of the train and really stresses the fact, especially at the end of the movie, of it doesn't matter where you're going. What matters is to get on. So taking a risk sometimes leads to great things, and I feel like the movie would have been so much different if the boy wouldn't have got on the train. Obviously, it would have been different. We wouldn't have had a movie. The collaboration and, communication of kids in this film throughout the train, we don't really learn any of their names except for the boy Billy, but they really learn to work together, like when the 3 get lost at the North Pole. And we just see that children can be so resilient and really learn how to work together and problem solve from a very young age. The main boy, in the blue and yellow, he lives in Grand Rapids, and I thought that was kind of cool that I didn't live too far from Grand Rapids most of the time when I was growing up, and I never remembered having that much snow. I guess they get a lot more snow in Michigan, but again, like, this independent of children, aside from their parents and elder people, it sparks me and just strikes me in a way that people, no matter how old you are, can figure out really anything. And Polar Express, the music of this film with kids really paints a picture that humans have no limits. And for those reasons, Polar Express is number 2 on my list of all-time Christmas movies. And number 1, a lot of you probably guessed it, Elf. This one was probably missing from your list of where is it at. You guys are probably wondering where I was going to put it. Well, it's number 1. Will Ferrell hadn't had that many movies at this point in his career. This movie was made 20 years ago. It's actually this year's 20th anniversary of this movie. And he actually didn't have that many great roles. So this movie really helped make him famous. And I think he's the perfect fit for it. Fun fact, he actually wasn't the first pick to be Buddy the Elf. It was actually Jim Carrey, but he ended up being too busy, and the film actually took a long time to shoot. Well, I think Will Ferrell fit the role perfectly. He traveled to New York, ate spaghetti, did everything an elf does, and sticks to the four main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup. This movie has a grumpy dad, a chipper as can be elf, and his brother Michael, who's somewhat in the middle. Well, what else can a Christmas movie have? I mean, it has romance, it has music, it has New York City, it has everything. Gingerbread house, it has a doctor's office. I mean, come on. Name something that this movie doesn't have. It has animation. It has, I mean, I think the workshop, again, just like in the Santa Claus, is really unique. I mean, it has all kinds of different elves. They make toys. Buddy's not so good at making toys. But I think the narration of Papa Elf also plays a huge role and kind of compares it to Rudolph because that also has a narration of Sam the Snowman. But this movie has to be number one because Buddy at one point in the movie feels that he doesn't belong anywhere after Walter Hobbs, his dad, yells at him. Well, eventually they all come together and say, Merry Christmas, and I don't want you to leave, and what else can I say? Everything works out. Buddy makes friends. He starts off a little rough around the edges, but comes around. So this movie, if you haven't seen it, we need to sit down and watch it together because I have enjoyed this movie for many years now, and it is totally number one on my list.
Those movies, in my opinion, are the best Christmas movies of all time. I've enjoyed watching them my entire life. I hope I inspire you guys to watch more movies more often. That is the end of this video. Please like and comment below if you agree or disagree with the reviews and ranking from this video. I'd love to see what you guys think for that. And I'm just really interested to see if you guys agree or disagree with what I thought were the best in order. That's a wrap for 2023. Hopefully 2024, I have a better camera and I'm going to kick it off even stronger. But before we go, I heard a quote not too long ago that really inspired me to get through these last few months of 2023. And it's never confuse effort with result. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.